Hello and welcome to 100% Chelsea. Today we are here for our Arsenal versus Chelsea review. Chelsea won 1-0. Don't mean to sound like Jamie Lawson, but I was not expecting that. What an absolute result. 3 points, so important. I think we got to 13th place now. But the main talking point of the game was, of course, Diego Costa getting into the heads of the defenders once again. That's 3 red cards for Arsenal in 2 games against us this season now. Daniel, give me your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing result. I wasn't exactly expecting that we were going to go to Arsenal and win today. I thought it was going to be a very difficult game. I thought maybe the best on our current form, considering we've conceded 5 goals in our last 2 previous games. I think it is against West Brom and Everton. I thought we were in trouble today personally, and I thought Arsenal would be right up for it. But I think on that incident straight away, I thought it was a blatant red card. I'm not going to sit here and try and deny that Costa didn't make the most out of the situation. Of course he did, but there's contact. Mertesacker knew he was beaten for pace. And the fact is, if Mertesacker doesn't make that challenge, Costa's 1-on-1 with Cech. And I think it's a little bit rich for Wenger to come out and start claiming that Costa intentionally got Mertesacker sent off. Mertesacker was not even actually looking at the ball when he was actually looking at linesmen to try and see if Costa was offside, which was a little bit weird. And sure, it changed the game. There's no doubt about that. But the fact is, we look very good today. I think Cesc Fabregas had one of his best games of the season. The reason he got man of the match was because out of him and Ozil, there was only one real player who seemed to turn up today, and that was Cesc Fabregas. He absolutely dominated the Emirates for a large part of that game. Slick passing. Arsenal players seemed to step off him and step away from him a lot of the time. And Fabregas, for me, rightly got man of the match. Diego Costa, clinical. He didn't let any Arsenal defender try and get in his head. I think by the time he got about injured, it was a perfect day. I think everything that you'd want, Diego Costa scoring in front of those Arsenal fans, Cesc Fabregas being man of the match, looking solid at the back, a clean sheet away from the Emirates. Everyone's going to talk about the red card, but I think if anyone watched on the full 90 minutes, we looked the most dangerous in that first 15 minutes. The Arsenal defence looked shaky, Mertesacker looked shaky, and it proved when Costa went through. So, sure, it had a massive impact on the game. Arsenal looked a lot better in the second half. Sanchez really impressed me, but it's a massive win. And unfortunately, that incident once again, and I've seen headlines like toxic Costa and all that crap. Anyone watching the games know Diego Costa did his job today. He was a striker. He's a clinical striker. He got into the heads of those Arsenal defenders for that first 23, 25 minutes and scored the goal when the opportunity came. Arsenal simply didn't do that today. They didn't create enough clear-cut chances. Their clearest chances fell to Flamini. So I think overall, whatever way you spin it, it's a brilliant win for Chelsea. There's no denying that.
Definitely, I completely agree when you say that it's a shame that the main talking point at the game is the fact that Diego Costa got into their heads again. And obviously, as you said, he did definitely make the most out of that. But as Mertesacker was realistically the last man, I do think it's fair. Another opportunity that could have gone our way was, of course, the penalty on Fabregas. Koscielny absolutely wiped him out. And in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, the pundits, obviously Chelsea fans, most Arsenal fans who aren't deluded, the very rare breed of them may admit to it as well. That was definitely a penalty. I don't know what you think of that, Dan, because we should have really got that, and that could have been 2. That could have killed off the game and made it a little bit less shaky in that second half.
Yeah, it was another situation when Fabregas gets the ball. We're applying a little bit of pressure to them, and the Arsenal defenders just seem to not know what to do with Fabregas, and Fabregas just easily ran through, and Koscielny bundles Fabregas over. No attempt to get the ball. It's one of the most clumsiest challenges I've ever seen in my life. Like, literally no attempt to get the ball. He almost goes in, like, it's really weird. Koscielny doesn't challenge him from the front. If I remember it rightly, he kind of turns his back, and then it just looked all wrong from Koscielny. And I don't know if Clattenburg didn't see it properly, or who'd actually been having a good game, in my opinion. We compare it to Clattenburg and the stuff he'd had against Chelsea in the past, But I don't know if he was worried about making another key decision that would really... we never know. But the weird thing is, like a moment later, Sanchez is running through, Matic takes him out, and it's pretty much a similar tackle, and Matic gets a yellow card and Arsenal get a free kick. I think it's... maybe the ref bottled it, I don't know, but I don't know why it wasn't a pen. It was clear. There's no defending it. Koscielny bundled a very competent and smart defender like Koscielny should know better than to do something like that. And he runs in there, he bundles Fabregas over. It should be a penalty to Chelsea. But the fact is, do I really care now? No. Chelsea have got the 3 points. The game ended 1-0. If that would have ended up, it's a discussion point if the game ends 1-1 or somehow Arsenal win the game. You know, it's or they get a penalty very similar. But really, it's a bit of a frustration. But the fact is, what is the score at the end of the day? It's 1-0 Chelsea, which means we've won.
Definitely. I mean, to have got a clean sheet out of that as well, it's incredible. I think, what's that? It's got to be about, that's 9 games now where they haven't scored. Last time they scored against Chelsea, Man United were on their way to winning the league. Nobody knew who Paul Pogba was. Leicester were a mid-table team in the Championship. Wigan were on their way to winning the FA Cup. AC Milan was still playing European football. And Bayern Munich were on their way to winning the treble. It's been that long since Arsenal scored a goal against Chelsea. I don't know why it is that they can't play against us.
Can we just talk about that in a sense? Because I've been speaking to some Arsenal fans about this, and I think today you can kind of, once again, the red card, and I'm not doubting the red card and no impact on the game. Arsenal dominated that second half, but they didn't really create a lot. They had a lot of pressure, but we defended it quite well. I think, once again, it comes into question the psychological thing with Arsenal. I know Ozil, his first game coming back from injury, but if you compare Ozil to Sanchez, I mean, Ozil looks like he's been injured for about 3 or 4 months. Sanchez looks like he hasn't been injured. Ozil, for me, was just absolutely... he just wasn't there today. It was really weird. And considering a sensational player like him, who really has decided to step up this season, once again, just not turning up for Arsenal, I think that was a key point. They had he got muscled off the ball by Oscar. And we sometimes, Chelsea fans accuse Oscar of being a lightweight. But I mean, certain players just out-muscled Ozil several times. And that was the key thing. I think that's why you saw Hiddink put Matic and Mikel in the centre of the park. And both of them did their jobs brilliantly, especially Matic, who's in a rocky patch recently. Matic that we knew, breaking up play, doing the simple things right. But I think definitely for Arsenal, and you won't hear a lot of people, maybe it's because it's a stat, but you won't hear a lot of people bring this up. I think really now there needs to be some, as an Arsenal fan, I'd be asking, is there a psychological problem with our players when we come up against Chelsea? Because the facts tell you that Arsenal should have won that game today. Chelsea are 14th in the Premier League. Arsenal are, what is it? If they would have even, I think, they would have won today. They would have gone back to the top. So really, Arsenal have got to be winning these games. And the way they came out to the game, they look sloppy, they look lethargic. Their defense especially looked like that. So, and that led to, of course, Costa Mertesacker getting sent off. Now, as I say, that's had a massive impact on the game. But I think to use it as an excuse for why Arsenal have lost again, I mean, how many more times is it, we're the victims, you know, it's other factors. Sooner or later, someone's got to take responsibility of why is it that Arsenal, in a season where Chelsea have absolutely, 14th in the Premier League, we were 4 points going into today, I think, off the relegation zone. That's how bad Chelsea have been this season, and still we managed to do the league double over Arsenal. For me, if an Arsenal fan, I'm looking at that and going, that's not right. That's something has to go, something more. There has to be something more to that. But I'm sure, like many, it would just be, it's the red card. But I think from people I've spoke to, it seems that that's a theme again. It's very frustrating for Arsenal fans. But the fact is, Chelsea, they went there, they put in a display similar. It weren't. There were. I think at corners we looked a little bit suspect at times. But overall, it was the performance we wanted. It was the win, and hopefully it gives us a big boost. I don't think you can say it will turn around our season, because I don't know if it will. But it's just a brilliant day, because, you know, I think all the odds were stacked against us. I think everyone who wasn't a Chelsea fan, even some Chelsea fans like myself, thought today they're just going to have a little bit too much for us today, considering our defensive problems, and considering seeing that defence last week against Everton and seeing it this week. I mean, 2 different defences really, in a lot of cases. Just it's weird how football works, but that's this season. It's crazy. 14th place Chelsea goes to Arsenal, who were 3rd place going into the day, and beat them. You know, that's the way the season goes.
Yeah. Would you say it's one of our better performances this season, if not the best one?
I think it is the best one, because it's against a big rival. Clearly, because in terms of I've been at certain games where you think this is going to be the day where we're going to turn it around. We're going to go. I've been at some of those days. The Leicester game, the United game away. I know we didn't have a striker that day. This has to be, because even if, I mean, the amazing thing was when I looked at it, apparently we had more possession than Arsenal, and that doesn't really make a lot of sense. But possession really means nothing in football. In truth, I've always believed that. But the stats tell you, and just the fact of watching the game, in truth, is that Mertesacker cost Arsenal that game. Mark Clattenburg didn't cost Arsenal that game. It was a bad decision from him. It was a great move from us. Fabregas got man of the match rightly. We done the right things. In a lot of cases, limited Arsenal to they did, as I say, they had a lot of pressure, but not, there were very few times where you had a one-on-one, or you had, Courtois never had to make an amazing save today. I remember once from Firmini, funny enough, again, who seemed to be the only guy looking to score for Arsenal, had to make a diving save that was quite easy, actually. It wasn't like, there was no world-class saves from Courtois today. And that pretty much shows you that our defence did limit it, Arsenal's defence, to that. And JT, I thought, had a class game at the back. Diego, all around the pitch, you could pick up so many players. I don't want to get carried away with this, but the fact is, it's a win against Arsenal, and it's a win in a game where I think most people expected Arsenal to turn us over. So all positive, really. I think it has to go down as one of the best. You go to a tougher great. And also remember, all this stuff about Chelsea hoodoo over Arsenal. We haven't won at the Emirates since. I think it's October of 2012. So we haven't actually won there in the league I know it's been draws, but at the same time, we haven't turned them over there for a few years. So to go there and do that in a season where they're looking most likely to win the league, I think is even more impressive from our perspective. And I think all the talk beforehand, I think it's just a big relief, and it's very satisfying for Chelsea fans, especially those who coughed up 65 quid to go to the Emirates today. And finally, the players decided to do the business, and it always seems to be the case against Arsenal. As I point back to that psychological impact of Chelsea and Arsenal, it seems to be Chelsea just have one over on Arsenal, and that hasn't changed since Mourinho's left. And also, Hiddink has one over Wenger, because the last time when Hiddink was manager last time, Hiddink played Arsene Wenger 2 times in an FA Cup semi-final and a Premier League game, beat him both times. So that's 3 in a row now for Hiddink against Wenger. So.
Yeah, we'll talk about Hiddink more at the end of this episode. We might have a few things to pick up on, he is still unbeaten, so he's doing well. Also going to quickly talk about our stream yesterday for the preview of this game. It was me, Oren, Derek and Louis. So, Derek, firstly, thought Arsenal were going to win 2-1. He was wrong. Both me and Louis thought that it was going to be a 1-1 draw. As you said earlier, a lot of Chelsea fans weren't optimistic. However, Oren, the little Irish genius, said Chelsea will win 1-0. We were laughing at him thinking that won't happen. You're too optimistic, but fair play to him. I'll leave his Twitter in the description. Fair play to him for getting that score correct. I mean, none of us really believed that to happen. So yeah, fair play. And also, Louis, you said that Fabregas shouldn't start as you don't think he plays very well against Arsenal and you didn't think he would play well. Again, you was wrong there, my friend. But he did have a great game today. Dan, was you happy with the team we put out? We were talking yesterday about how we would like to see a few younger players get a start, or even sort of have a go later on in the game. We would like to see Loftus-Cheek come on after about 70 minutes. We were even talking about Kennedy maybe starting, but instead we went with Oscar on the wing. Would you have liked to see a different team, or do you think that the team that was set out was good with the style of play that we implemented?
Well, in hindsight, the team we put out was obviously perfect. The tactics worked well. We won the game. The only surprise I had within the team was one. There was the late. Of course, Pedro not being in the squad, we found out late that it was. I think he went down with illness. Apparently, I heard someone else saying it was muscular injury, but he was out. So, and I was surprised Oscar was moved out to the left wing. But I thought Oscar did a fine job in the left wing. I thought he was doing what he did against Arsenal. I remember when we beat them 2-0 at the Bridge a few years ago, where he was just harassing players. He done a real good. He had a real good shift there, and when he came off for Hazard, who stepped in, I also thought put in a shift as well for what he did. I thought that was the only surprise. As you say, I mean, we always want Loftus-Cheek and Kennedy and players like those to start. Hopefully next week against MK Dons, we will see that. I expect Kennedy to come in. I expect Loftus-Cheek to start after the way he performed against Scunthorpe. So those players will get a chance. But I wasn't too surprised with the team that came out. I knew Fabregas was going to start because you need him in that connection with Costa. I know Fabregas didn't directly get an assist today, but I thought he was brilliant in the advanced role because he has a very free role with Matic and Mikel behind him. So no, I wasn't too surprised with the team. And if you look at it on paper, I think that it obviously worked out in practice, it worked out for the best. So that was the only surprise. Oscar on the left wing and with Hazard on the bench. I thought actually the use of Hazard, he came on, he maybe should have laid on. Yeah, I thought he should have maybe gone on his own and maybe finished the game. But he put in a shift. He dispossessed Ozil a few times and made some key interceptions and put in a shift as well. So I'm happy that he's back and hopefully he's more raring to go next week because I'd like to see him start against MK Dons as well because I think he could maybe get a little bit more confidence into his game and hopefully be the player we want him to be. But no, I don't think that. I think as well you've got to look at the occasion as well. I know people may say, "Oh, you're a hypocrite," because I don't want to throw youngsters in just for the sake of throwing them in. I think with these youngsters, you've got to put them in at the right time, as well. You've got to look at all those players on the pitch for Chelsea today. A lot of them were very experienced players who've been in that situation before, players who've been through big games with Chelsea before last season. You know, that was basically nearly an exact side that you'd see last season. And you know that's the thing. So you had a lot more experienced players on there. We want to see Loftus-Cheek, Kennedy, Traore, who was on the bench as well, get more time. But that will come, and I hope it will come, especially next week against MK Dons, where we've got a good chance to rotate the squad and still put out a strong side. So I wasn't disappointed with the squad. I was just a little bit worried about that having Oscar on the left wing would sort of mean that we'd have no outlet on that wing. But the way the movement worked, it worked out okay in the end, and he did his job.
Yeah, we're going to go on to reading some comments now. Feel free to join in at any point, Dan. So, Ozil, we picked up on him. Who was it that said it? Lavender the Great said Ozil was not seen at any point in the game. Have I seen him? Nope, I haven't. He just wasn't there. Stanley Backer, who was your man of the match? I'm going to go Diego Costa. Do you agree with that, Dan?
I love Diego and the fact that the fact it was him and his celebration, I think alone deserves an award for what he did and the goal and the way he got that first 25 minutes was exactly what you want from Diego Costa. They were talking pre-match because, of course, unfortunately, I wasn't at the game today. About his aggressiveness, and I think there's a bit of a myth, really. I think if you've been watching Chelsea since basically, for me, the Watford game, he seems to have changed his mentality. He's not fighting, he's not doing stupid things like unnecessary squaring up to people like he was before. He's not always arguing with the ref. Sure, that part is still there, but he's doing the right stuff now. He's getting his head down, he's working hard, he's doing the things we know Diego Costa can. And Diego Costa's an immensely underrated player when it comes to his technique, not just the way he scores goals. And that goal, 3 Arsenal defenders around him and he scores. The reason I'll give it to Cesc Fabregas is simply because to annoy Arsenal fans. No, but in truth, if we look at the game in total, the way he was the guy, he was controlling the midfield. I mean, and everyone expected Ozil to come out and flourish, and it was Fabregas who did. And I think midfield is such a key thing in the game today, and the fact that he went to his old ground and completely ran the show for a lot of it, I think, and done what Fabregas can do for Chelsea. I remember someone making a good comment. I don't know who it was when Fabregas plays, Chelsea play, and that was true today.
That's a very, very fair point. I like that.
And he's actually, if people look at it, his stats last week against Everton were brilliant. I mean, they were ranking up to last week. So I think he's continued that. And for him to get man of the match, I'm sure is very satisfying him walking off the pitch, Arsenal fans booing him. And, you know, of that, I'm sure he's very happy and very relieved. And as well with the fact that
he was pumping the badge in his shirt while walking off.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty hilarious as well. And I think as well, looking at it, he's managed both Diego and Cesc after. If we go back to the 19th of December, that Sunderland game after Jose Mourinho had walked out the door, how people were towards Costa and Fabregas. I personally wasn't like that. I was annoyed with them, but at the same time, you think of the way that's turned around now, and they've gone to Arsenal. Both of those players have contributed massively with a goal. And Fabregas being man of the match. Chelsea fans singing Fabregas' Magic. I love hearing that song, and hopefully we're going to be hearing a lot more of it. And the way those two players have changed since that day, I think is, or at least since the turn of the new year, those players have improved their games. And I think it can only be good for Chelsea. And I'm happy for both of those players because last season they were key in why we won that league title. So happy all round. As I say, I think we sometimes in these occasions can get a little bit too overheated and maybe come on here and laugh about Arsenal. But really, we done that in September. For me, I want to kind of rise above that. Let's celebrate the fact that Chelsea have won a game, and the fact that I want to more kind of dig into why Chelsea won this game rather than having a go at Arsenal, which sure is fun and banter all that, but let's think about why Chelsea have won this game and what we can replicate in future. We saw the character, funny enough, last week against Everton, and they managed to go and show that character today, just in a different way, just in a more methodical, more. I tweeted out, sorry, I'm going on a rant here, but well, not really a rant, but a ramble here. But so many thoughts at the moment. But I put out a tweet saying that Jose Mourinho never really left Chelsea, and I was sitting there watching that game thinking this is exactly like not the Jose Mourinho performance we saw earlier on this season, but the Jose Mourinho performance we are used to, the ones where we go to a tough away ground. In stages of the game, it was almost like it was planned, and we managed to cope with it, and we'd look defensively more solid. Sure, it isn't exactly where we want it to be, but at the same time, it was more like a Chelsea performance where we go to a place where we're not expected to win. We turn up there. Our big players decide to turn up. Defensively, we look solid. We shut down the opposition's key players, and we win. And that's what I want to see from Chelsea more often. The free-flowing football hopefully will come back, but at the moment, it's a massive win. And for those players, especially with the amount of pressure that's been under them this week, because maybe if you think about it in a way, everyone was talking about how big of a game this was for Arsenal. It's a big game for Chelsea. Swansea won earlier today. They're level on points. They were level on points with us, I think, as we were going into this game. So really, we needed to win this game to climb up that table and avoid relegation. So really, overall, it was as much a big win for Chelsea as it was a big defeat for Arsenal.
Yeah, definitely. I said yesterday in the game, in the preview, that both teams are going out there needing 3 points. A draw isn't enough for both teams. Arsenal need 3 points to challenge for the title, to get up there, remain top of the league. We just need 3 points to get out of where we are. I mean, we've gone up a place. I think we're 4 points off the top half of the table now, which isn't too bad. We can overturn Watford. I believe we can do that with an away game coming up as well. It gives us a good opportunity. Going to answer some more questions. I can't remember what his name was, but someone said, are any more MK Dons tickets going to be released? Unfortunately, I know for definite there will not be any more. They sold out in around half hour, and the MK Dons Club have announced that even their section has now been sold out before they even got a general sale. Nitesh Chahan says, what position do you want Fabregas to play? Attacking centre midfield or central midfield? Personally, as I said yesterday in the preview, I think he's best suited in the attacking centre mid role. He has so much more space. It gives him a chance to sort of work his magic there rather than being stuck in sort of one area where he has to play a more sort of structured role, which in my opinion doesn't quite work for him. Okay, let's just try and find some more. Dan, what did you make of Matic? Obviously, his form hasn't been great recently. How did you find him today? Do you think he was any better, or do you still think that we should have gone out with another defensive midfielder?
No, I think, as I said earlier, I think he was back to where the stuff that I don't think you can criticise Matic today from what I saw. I thought he was competent. He got the yellow, but it was a yellow he needed to make because Sanchez was storming through. No, he did the job alongside both of them. John Obi Mikel and Nemanja Matic done the job, and they did what they were supposed to do. Matic has been all over the place recently, and I think Matic is a massive positive. We've heard the rumours of him maybe wanting to make a move away from Chelsea in the summer, not being happy with his recent form. Hopefully, maybe he can get his form back because he is still such a key part of that team. I think, in relation to your last point, you asking about the Cesc Fabregas thing. I think it depends on the game, really. Sometimes you can play Fabregas in a deeper position. I think it matters against the opponent. Against Arsenal today, I think you need two defensive midfielders to shut down a player like Ozil. Right, Ozil didn't have the best of games, but still, you've got to shut down a player with the technique of that, and also the other players that Arsenal have. In other games, maybe when we can be a little bit more free, a little bit more open, you maybe bring Fabregas back and you can still play Oscar there. Now, it's going to be interesting to see Mikel or Matic. Now, I think in certain games we may see that combination stick, but in other games I think he will switch it up. maybe in some games it's really interesting because Mikel's been brilliant since he's come in for me. I think he's done what he's supposed to. I think he's really taken that role. But if Matic can get back to his form, it's going to be interesting to see who those two players. But I wouldn't always play two defensive midfielders because I think it's sometimes can be a little bit negative. I don't like the idea of doing it. For instance, I think in some games, especially like Everton last week, I think we got found wanting when we did that. Sometimes it can be a little bit too negative, especially at home. I think sometimes Fabregas, if he can come back into his form, I think sometimes from a deeper role can pick out those passes. But as we saw today, because of that defensive stability we had behind Fabregas, he had a more freer role. But then what happens to Oscar? Does Oscar not move? Do you know what I mean? It's like then you have to take one of those players out. But probably no, it's going to be interesting. It's very interesting. But I'm happy that Matic, to answer your question, me, I'm happy that Matic is back, especially today. Just on the basis of today, he looks a lot better, but he's got to continue that form in the next few weeks to see if he's actually turned the corner. But thanks for the question.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to answer 2 or 3 more questions and then we will wrap it up. Nitesh Kahan again says, does Mikel deserve some credit? We have said Mikel deserves a lot more credit than he's getting. Obviously, he is now a first-team regular under Gus Hiddink, so that's nice to see. He has been playing very well. Another question, seems that everyone I see is from the same guy. Is Oscar good enough to play on the wings? I feel like he had a reasonably good game today. I was happy not to see Hazard start. Not so much for the fact that his form has been dreadful, but also for the fact that I don't want to rush him into a game after just coming out of injury. It's best to sort of let him ease into game time. And with a team such as Arsenal, who can be very, very challenging with tackles, as shown today, and with the red card record that they have against us, I think it's definitely a good decision. So I'm just going to try and find some more. One Life, One Love, One Club CFC says Willian was poor today. Do you agree? I'm going to make this the last question. Dan, do you agree Willian was poor today? Yes or no?
Willian was poor.
Apparently, he thinks Willian was poor today. I can't say I agree, but
I don't really agree that he was poor. He at some points made a few poor passes, maybe had a little bit of miscommunication with certain players. But I can't really say he was poor. I don't think any Chelsea player on that pitch today was poor.
Yeah. As a unit,
we did a job and we knew we were out there to do when we accomplished that goal. So the fact, I don't really think you can a player like Willian, who pretty much does, and people forget Willian was the guy who put that sublime ball through, perfectly timed ball through to Costa to run onto that got Mertesacker sent off. That was Willian. Willian ran through. Willian so many times today looked like he was full of energy, never looked like he tired at some point, and he has to, because you think of all the work he's done this season. I really don't agree that he was poor today. He did make some lapses, maybe lapses in concentration. Sure, you can criticize him for his late shot. He gets Hazard put literally nearly the end, 93rd minute, I think it was. He gets a shot and you expect Willian to at least challenge check. But no, I really can't buy that Willian was poor today. I think there weren't any players for me that stood out and said, oh, he had a rubbish game today. I think a lot of them deserve a big pat on the back, some more than others, but I think overall as a unit, we worked really well today. So don't really agree with your point, mate.
Agreed. That's the main part to say. As a unit, we looked a lot better. Last question quickly, as I think this is important. Chol Mayhem says, what do you guys think Kennedy and Ruben Loftus-Cheek starting for FA Cup? It's crucial that they start. If they don't start, I will be fuming. And I think we should even start more youth players than them two against MK Dons. I mean, a championship side that's struggling. I think they are in the relegation zone at the minute. They are absolutely woeful. They've just come off a 3-1 loss away at Bolton, which, again, isn't a good result whatsoever. They were absolutely destroyed by Burnley a few weeks back. I think they lost 5-0. I mean, they struggled to get past the League Two side, Northampton. So if we don't play more than two youth players, I will be disappointed. But them two definitely, without doubt, should start. And I won't be surprised if Hazard gets a little bit of game time to help him ease out of this injury. But that's it, realistically. We've sort of gone through everything. Yeah, that's everything. Have you got anything else you'd like to say, Dan?
Not really, just some things never change.
Some things never change. It's very true. And do you think Arsenal fans will be boycotting Costa Coffee once more?
I don't know how many times you can boycott Costa Coffee. I mean, you know, funny enough, I have to get Costa Coffee. I mean, that's something I'm going to have to do tomorrow. I'm going to have to go and get some Costa Coffee. But how many more times? I saw apparently Arsenal fans, as I say, this doesn't represent the whole Arsenal fan base. I've seen things saying that Diego Costa should never be allowed to play against Arsenal again. And someone's actually put a petition out there. Now, I don't know if someone's parodying Arsenal here. As I say, it doesn't represent the whole scale of Arsenal fans. But, you know, it's some of these Arsenal fans, the depths that they go to try and it's actually quite. But sometimes I do think maybe it's just people who aren't actually Arsenal fans and they do it just to troll. But as we know, there are people out there like that. So, you know, how many more times can you boycott something? That's the question. But try and boycott something else. I mean, move on. Maybe boycott Mertesacker because he's getting players. He's losing you games. You know, boycott Mertesacker, something like that.
Boycott your club. You shouldn't be charged £64 to see you lose against a 14th side team. But yeah, that's the end of that. Anyway, I did quickly say earlier that we were going to talk about Goose Hiddink. Do you think he deserves to stay at the club, maybe get a permanent contract now that his form has been so good and still hasn't lost a game? We're not necessarily picking up points, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does get the permanent job, definitely. But yeah, we've gone for that. Shout outs anyway. Should we do some shout outs quickly? We'll do 5 or 6 shout outs, then we'll talk about our own channels, and then we'll sign out. So Lamar Kelman, shout out to you. Let's try and find some more. Stanley Ubaka, shout out. Geraint Evans, try and find some more here. Chelsea Till I Die, love his comments. Chol Mayhem, Evan 2828, Isaac Taylor, Leonardo Mossa, One Life, One Love, One Club, CFC, Jabs Arms, and John Apper. So that'd be it. Anyway, go and subscribe to Dan's channel. Wonderful channel, Son of Chelsea. Does some quality content. There's loads more going on at the minute. He's recently sort of changed what he's doing, so it's less centered around Chelsea so much. He's got FIFA stuff. I mean, his editing has gone up so much. He's really, really quality stuff. I mean, definitely go and check it out if you haven't already. Some quality stuff coming out in the future. It's a new channel, realistically, isn't it, Dan? You've definitely stepped it up.
No, I love making content and I love interacting with people. I love having discussion. I know this is a Chelsea channel, but I'm free to any fans who are open for a discussion, who are respectful, to come to my channel. I do loads of other content as well. I have a Premier League review show that will be going up tomorrow. Sorry. Where I'll be discussing about a variety of topics around the Premier League. I'm hoping in the future to have more discussion-based things with people from a wide variety of different footballing backgrounds on the show, on my channel. So as I say, I love making consistent content. Basically, I'm uploading daily now, so you can expect that from my channel. And yeah, so since we're complementing both channels now, I definitely say go and check out the 12th Man, because that's a channel that definitely deserves more subscribers and is going up there. I know you had a Team of the Year pack opening the other week, so since there's no other way I can put this, mate, and I'm sorry to say it, but we're blowing smoke up each other's asses here. But you know, let's as I say, also check out Louis' channel, the Boogaloo.
We'll put a link in the description for that.
Yeah, and most importantly, subscribe to 100% Chelsea. As I say, I think we're getting closer to 16k. Let's try and get to 20k by, I don't know, March. I say let's try that.
Definitely. So brief roundup: like, comment, subscribe to 100% Chelsea. Subscribe to Stan's channel. Please subscribe to my channel. It would mean a lot. Follow Oren on Twitter. Quality lad. You'll be seeing him more this week. And if you want, don't know why you would, subscribe to Louis' channel. Completely up to you. No, it's a good channel. He's got some good stuff coming out, and he's already at almost 300 subs. So keep that going. This definitely deserves it. But yes, this has been our review for the Arsenal versus Chelsea game. What a result. We are happy. We hope you are happy too. 3 points, 13th place in the league. We're going up. Arsenal fans, we've got bragging rights for the rest of this season until May. So, as I said, great result. Please like, comment and subscribe. All social media links to 100% Chelsea will be down below. Follow the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and the new Snapchat. Goodbye.